Hi again then guys, and so we've got another updated Le Mans prototype tune for you today, and this time it's for the pretty popular Peugeot 905. So you want your racing soft tyres. For suspension we've got the ride height on 50 on the back. The front on this one only 5mm higher though, rather than 10. Springs we've got on 15 front and rear. For the dampers we've got 1 on compression, 3 on extension. Anti-roll on 1 with camber and toe neutral. For the gearbox we've got an auto setting of 249, and then for the individual gears we've got 5.2, 3.3, 2.3, 1750, 1375 and 1.1 with a final drive of 3. For the diff, same as ever, low initial torque, high acceleration and low braking. A high RPM turbo kit of course, and your downforce set as low as possible. Traction control is also turned off as usual. And so this is one of the slightly lower powered prototypes in the game. It's not the least powerful by far, but it's also not the most powerful. It sits just over 1,000 horsepower, so not quite on the same level as say the Bentley or the Audi R10 of course, or the Peugeot 908. But still pretty powerful for such a small capacity engine. The engine is of course derived from Formula 1, and this was a very successful car. It won the 1992 and 1993 Le Mans, so pretty impressive. Pretty popular on the game, and I'm personally glad that they sorted out the major problem that this car used to have on GranTurismo. Back on GranTurismo 4 when it was introduced, which used to be the gear changes. If you go back and play GranTurismo 4 and drive this car, regardless of whether you use a manual or an auto gearbox, you'll notice that the amount of time that it takes to change gear in this car is ridiculous. There's so much lag. So thankfully they fixed that now, which makes it a much more competitive car. Now in terms of performance difference with this tune, my existing tune for this car did 274 under its own power. This one does 283 under its own power, so just under, well, 9 miles per hour better, which is very similar to the other ones. They tend to be around 8 to 10 miles per hour improved. And interestingly, this is actually the lightest Le Mans prototype in the game as far as weight. It only weighs 750 kilos, which is a lot lighter than any of the other prototypes. And for anybody who's thinking, well wait a second, doesn't the Toyota 7 weigh less than that? Yes it does, but that's not a Le Mans prototype, it's a Can-Am car. That seems to be a common misconception among people who play the game. They automatically put the Toyota 7 in the same category as cars like the GT1 and the Minolta, which is understandable. It looks similar. You could kind of assume, if you didn't know better, that it was an old Le Mans car, but that's just not the case. So as far as draft potential, similar to the other ones, you've got a little bit, about 500-ish RPM, so you can slipstream up around 295, maybe 300. So if you need it to do more than that, which I don't see many people using this as a top speed racer anyway, but if you do need it to do more than that, obviously just extend the final drive a little bit lower. As far as handling, it's pretty good. As you'll have noticed, I only put it 5mm higher at the front rather than 10. That's because this is slightly more inclined than some to understeer on the corner, but it still has pretty good handling with this particular tune. So for those of you who do like the car and decide to use this tune, I hope you find it of course fun, and it's definitely more competitive than it used to be. And if you're new to the channel or just found this helpful in general, feel free to subscribe. I put out new top speed tunes every day, new updated tunes fairly regularly, and more so in the coming weeks and months. And as always, thanks for watching.